Said he doesn't think Michael Sam's sexual orientation has anything to do with the fact that he has not landed a job in the league. Let's listen.
He wasn't here on our squad. We didn't play against them to have an opportunity to look at them. But what I would assume is the case is the fact that he doesn't fit in with whomever's system or anybody's system right now in terms of being able to come in and play for them at this point in time. If he could benefit someone, and he still may. A lot of things happen here in the next 3 or 4 days anyway, but he still may, and he may still get that opportunity.
Do you think it has anything to do with his homosexuality?
I doubt that seriously.
Okay, I don't know what that was, but how about this? In short, he said he doesn't think it's his skill set. Stephen A., do you agree?
No, I do not agree, respectfully. I'm not accusing Jim Caldwell of lying in any way. He's a football man. He's a God-fearing individual. He's one of the most fair-minded individuals that I've ever met associated with the NFL. He's a good man, and I'm quite sure as it pertains to him, Michael Sam's sexual orientation had absolutely nothing to do with it. But he did use words like, I would assume, I think. He doesn't know. And he can't say concretely and definitively that that had nothing to do with it any more than the rest of us can say it did have something to do with it. So we all understand that none of us know for sure what's in the minds and hearts and conscience of NFL coaches and executives throughout this league. But here's what we have to pay attention to. Even though since 1994, only 46.8% of seventh-round picks have made a roster. And over the last 4 years, that number jumped up to 52.8%. Essentially, Michael Sam making the team as on that 53-man roster was a 50-50 proposition, Skip. So we understand that. That's a 50-50 proposition. But then we have to take this reality into consideration. He's the co-defensive player of the year in the #1 football conference in America, by and large, to everybody before Alabama lost in the Iron Bowl to Auburn and ultimately lost to Oklahoma in a bowl game. Before that, the SEC were reigning 7-time national champions. They ran the show in college football. This dude was the co-defensive player of the year in that conference. He comes to St. Louis because he never should have dropped to the 7th round. Let's call it what it is. So when he got to the 7th round and he was the 249th overall pick, that in itself appeared egregious. Then he goes on a team that's considered one of the elite, if not the most elite team in the game in terms of bodies on a defensive line. And this guy in preseason, albeit against backups, had about 3 sacks, 11 tackles, 6 sacks in one game, and everybody acknowledged that he could play the game of football. So if you can't make that squad, but you make it down to that Saturday where the roster has to be cut to 53, there's no shame in that game because we understand why, considering how deep St. Louis is. But everybody else ain't that deep. And you got to believe, even though they call him a tweener, too slow in a 3-4 to play the linebacker spot and drop back into coverage, too small to rush the passer against first-tier starting offensive line players in the NFL, there is no doubt that this guy deserves an opportunity to play for another team and really showcase his skills. The fact that he didn't even receive, that he cleared waivers and nobody picked him up, not even for the practice squad, I'm sorry. It's just my personal opinion and my belief. But damn it, I'm not that stupid. You can't convince me that this was entirely about football. This was about more than football, and we all know what we're talking about here.
Okay, before I respond to what you just said, I want to be clear once again. I would have taken Michael Sam in the 3rd round. I would want him on my football team because I love productive SEC football players, and he was one. Now, back to your point. I can't disagree with your conclusion because I don't know. Let's be candid here. Are there still players and coaches around this league on other teams other than the Rams who don't believe in Michael Sam's sexual orientation? Sure, they're out there. But was that the factor as to why Michael Sam didn't make any roster, including the 10-man practice squad in St. Louis? I just have a hard time believing that, Stephen A. I'm stuck on the point that I made 2 days ago. You know how these teams want to pull together with no distractions as they approach game 1 of the regular season. And Michael Sam is a big story, and he should be a big story. But again, it's almost like the Tim Tebow syndrome that he becomes more trouble than he's worth because they didn't want the Tebow circus to be brought to town with Tim Tebow. So in this case, it's a double-edged sword because while Michael Sam should be a big story, because the gay community would want him to be a big story,
sure,
then the fact that he is a big story, but he's not a great football player, he's a borderline because he's a tweener, he's not that big, not that fast. Again, I want him on my team, but some teams are saying, well, is it more trouble than he's worth because the media will descend on our locker room? Not in a bad way, in a good way for Michael Sam, but it's just a way. It's just a big, huge, and I don't like the word distraction because it has negative connotation. It's just commotion before your first regular season game. It's game 1, and you don't want the media asking everyone about a player who will basically be irrelevant to your chances of winning and losing this year, Michael Sam. So why would anybody want that? I'm not surprised at all that the rest of the league would say, no, we're not interested. Might they be interested week 3, week 4, as injuries occur, bye weeks occur? Sure, I think they would. I could be wrong, but I think they will be.
Well, I don't disagree with that, and in no way was I trying to, were my comments directed at the St. Louis Rams. They drafted him. Yep. I think Jeff Fisher, in the worst way, wanted Michael Sam to make the team. I think that he didn't make the team because Jeff Fisher had better options as it pertained to football players.
Yep.
I think Ethan Westbrooks outplayed Michael Sam.
He did.
I think the other guys, you got 5 first-round picks on that defensive line on your roster. I don't think there's any question that as it pertains to the St. Louis Rams, it was all about football.
Yep.
The problem is those other teams, it very well could be what you said, Skip. But considering the fact that this dude has that level of promise in terms of what we saw from him in the preseason, combined with the fact that other teams are not the St. Louis Rams, they're not as gifted at that position.
Yep.
For him not to even make the practice squad, to be picked up to make the practice squad. And by the way, it's still Tuesday, so I surmise it's still a possibility that he could be picked up. So all of that would be null and void if he's picked up today. But if he's not picked up by anybody, not even to make a practice squad, that speaks about more than football. And again, I'm going to say something that I said before, and people need to get a hold of this. Some folks are slow on the uptake. Nobody is debating that Michael Sam deserved the opportunity. Nobody is debating the fact that we live in a very tolerant society. We have graduated from where we once were on a multitude of levels, okay? But there is still always progress to be made, as even the gay community would acknowledge. And this has something to do with that. You do wrong, no matter how wrong it is. There are some people, man, that are uncomfortable in the locker room with that kind of presence. And no matter how egregious we might find that, it's a reality that an executive has to take into consideration when he thinks about who he's adding to his team. We can lament it all day long. It's reality.
By the numbers of the 41 picks made in this year's 7th round, Michael Sam's round, only 22 made the initial 53-man roster, and only 4 of those made it onto the practice squad.